do you have any suggestions for, star rating leaders that are just kind of trying to figure out like how can they leverage like data? One, give Mick and Phil a call, and they do amazing on the fly plan assessments. So start with that. I'd say step one. But what's step two and three in terms of how can they bring, use data to really articulate, where the plan needs to be going in the strategy?
I mean, I think you hit it on the head, right? Because Mick and Rex, like they were just saying, they're talking about this push to the middle, right? And like
Yeah.
what's doing that is the cut point. So if everybody's special, nobody's special, right? So it's
Aw.
figuring out what you have to do differently than everybody else. And that's Mick's term. So I'm going to give him credit for that because he says that all the time when we're talking about projections. If everybody's special, nobody's special. But figuring out what everybody's doing different. And to your point, Jen, about managed care actually being managed care, I hear all the time about we hear all the time about Q4 pushes, right? Well, nowadays Q4 pushes are being due to catch up. It's not as a benefit to boost you, to a higher rating. A lot of times it's we've got to play catch up because we didn't get maybe an intervention, scheduled until July and the vendor didn't get on board until September. But from a data sense, it's knowing exactly where you sit right now, where you expect to be sitting, and what can you do in the feasible amount of time, right? November, December plus HEDIS MRR season,
Mhm.
to make that difference. It's almost like gaming the system, to be honest with you. Take a look at where you're at, figuring out from a calculation standpoint, looking at those two 5-weighted QI measures, how can you get those to the best of their possible rating system? Because that's going to end up causing you the highest rating, right? Instead of moving a star measure. And that's, I think, what we love to do is meet with plans, do
Mhm.
their assessments and say, hey, this is where you sat. But had you improved, yeah, maybe you did a shotgun approach to a Q4 for a bunch of these measures, where really if you would have
Mhm.
just focused on those remaining members that you could still get adherent from a cholesterol standpoint or diabetes med standpoint, you didn't need to spend that time and those resources on those other measures.